Anyways, it was a typical night as I was driving east through Kentucky about 4 a.m., but I just couldn't keep my eyes open. I found a truck pull-out area and decided to see if I could find a spot and park and get a few hours of shut-eye. Lo and behold, there was a spot wide open, but it required a little bit of parallel parking to get in. With fuzzy, tired eyes and all, I pulled up, turned on the spots on the running boards, and wiggled into place without so much trouble. I shut the truck off, locked the doors, and pulled the curtains around the front window and dropped into the sleeper. Not more than 10 or 15 minutes later, I hear a knock on the door. I'm thinking to myself, a lot lizard out here? Really? So I get up with the, you know what? In a truck pullout area, that's kind of dedication, right?
I'd probably be more surprised if it didn't happen, but I mean, she's a professional.
I guess that's true. That's true. Sigh is what she said. So I get up with the idea of yelling at this idiot and blinding him with the spotlight I kept by the driver's seat. I throw back the curtain and hit this person square in the face with about 1,000,000 candle power and scream at him, "Get the hell away from my truck." He complied and backed off. Curious. This stranger then proceeded to put his hands in the air as if surrendering and begged me to listen to him. He said he had seen me pull in and had waited for me to park. I'm freaking out and thinking, how fast can I start the engine and run away from here?
Seriously.
This man then asked if I would mind shining my light back toward the underneath of my trailer. I'm thinking there is something wrong with my truck, or maybe I had ran over something and had been dragging its car seats down the road. So I told him to stay at least 15 feet in front of me, grabbed my baseball bat and my spotlight, and followed with my light glaring at the back of his head, in case he turned around to attack me.
Okay, but time out. Wow. The amount of bravery she had to have to even
consider it.
And then let alone get out of her truck to do that.
Right.
I'm sorry. This says a lot about me probably right now, but I wouldn't be doing that for anyone.
Absolutely not.
Unless I had literally
someone
with me
or
where
someone
I felt
else.
There was a lot of control that I had.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, keep going.
Isn't it crazy? Okay, I saw something that made my heart jump out of my throat. There was a darker spot on the ground than the rest of the area and faint line around it. He explained to me that not more than 4 or 5 hours ago, it was a crime scene where a driver had been yanked out of his truck and murdered. He didn't think I should stay here. I agreed and was wide awake, freaking out at this point. I scrambled back in my truck and drove out for about another 4 hours before I could settle my nerves and stop.
But was he the killer? Because why did my mind go there?
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
That is freaky.
Oh my God.
I don't like it one bit. I don't like it one bit.
Wow.
And he had remorse over the first killer.
Killer's remorse?
I don't know, but yikes.
Also, she didn't say anything about there being other, how crowded that area was. So, where she had parked. No, it's possible he just, popped out of.
Because she said it was late because she drives at late hours.
Mm-hmm. It was around 4 a.m. when she decided to pull out because she needed a break. She needed to sleep.
Yeah, that's weird to me.
Plus, you're so tired, you're kind of loopy, you don't really know what's going on. Right. Deciding to get out of the truck with this creepy man just standing there.
Randomly just appears out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about big headlamps, right?
Yeah.
Or headlights.
Yeah.
Headlights. And it covers a lot of ground. So if she's pulling in, unless she was really out of it.
Right.
I guess you could have missed him, but I don't know. I'm glad that she's that she's still around to tell the story, but
7 years retired driver.
Crazy.
As of 10 years ago.
Wow.
My mom is a trucker, and this is her story. She was driving through Arizona when she saw that what she thought was leaves blowing across the road in the distance. This puzzled her since there's mostly pine trees in northern Arizona. When she finally got to the leaves, she realized that they were migrating tarantulas.
Hell no.
Thousands of them.
No, absolutely not. What? What did she
Isn't it
do?
crazy?
Does it say? I need to know
Yeah,
more.
so there were so many of them that her truck was sliding on their guts and she had to slow down.
No.
Disgusting. I didn't even know tarantulas migrated.
No. I mean, it makes sense, kind of. Just because I'm like a reptile enthusiast, I like stuff that's kind of like that. But still, that's
Oh
a
my
little
God.
too far.
That's
wow.
Disgusting, right?
Sliding an
On the
18
guts.
wheel. Yeah.
Yeah. And hold on. I lost my spot. She had to slow down. She stopped at the first truck stop and told her co-driver to fuel up. He was sleeping at the time because she wasn't going to step foot outside after what she just saw.
Smart woman.
Right.
Smart woman.
Her co-driver was pissed since it was technically his time off and he thought she was going crazy until he saw the tarantula guts and legs caked in the inside well of the truck.
No.
Inside wheel well of the truck.
No.
Isn't that disgusting?
Ugh. Ooh.
What would you do?
I think I would stop. Like, I'd be like, I can't move because they're crossing.
We have to stop traffic for the tarantulas.
Where, you know, when they have the signs of like the deer crossing?
Yeah.
Where was that sign?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
You know?
That's
That's wild.
That's crazy.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
disgusting.
Can't imagine. I don't know what I would do.
I would be a danger to the road as soon as the realization hit.
100%. And the force of the 18-wheeler, you know, like
Right.
that's scary slamming on your, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh, wow. Good on her, though. She just kept on
Played it cool.
pushing through. I'm sure she was freaking out.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't? He says, I made a horrible career choice and have been doing this for way too long. Meaning speaking, like working in logistics. These are a very small fraction of them. There's like 5 that he lists off. So first one. Had a driver picking up at JFK Airport on the tarmac, forgot to mention that he had pet wolves in his truck.
I'm sorry, what?
Wolves. They got out of his truck somehow and were attacking the handling agent staff.
No.
This was an absolute disaster involving authorities, TSA, etc.
No.
Insane. What's up with these drivers having abnormal?
Exotic, animals as pets. What? And I'm hearing like multiple.
Yes.
More than one.
Yes, there was an S at the end of that.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? How do they fit in the truck?
I mean,
Plus, there's multiple. And they're
I've
not
seen
small.
some pretty full trucks. I'm always shook by how much can fit in there, which not rightfully so, right? Like they live in their trucks.
Yeah. But to have multiple wolves?
Yeah. They're
Crazy.
huge.
They're massive.
They're huge.
Former trucker here was driving north through the mountains of Colorado towards Pueblo, and it was my first time dealing with anything like the Rocky Mountains, so I was taking it nice and slow with my hazards on and in the right lane. This was in the spring, and there wasn't much snow on the ground aside from light dusting. I remember passing a truck pulled to the shoulder on my way up, nothing out of the ordinary. However, as I was heading down the mountain, there was this which can be scary as in an 18-wheeler, trust me. I saw the same truck I passed earlier fly by me to the left-hand lane, now being passed on the left going downhill in the Rocky Mountains by another tractor trailer is crazy enough, but what really makes the story is this guy's trailer brakes were on fire. He was pulling a load, could tell because the trailer was sealed, and if you know anything about trucks, you know there's only so much braking you're supposed to do before they overheat and worst case catch fire.
Yep. Wow.
This guy's truck looked like a comet as he sped down the mountain at what I thought was surely to be deadly pace. I grabbed the mic on the radio and called to him, "Hey driver, your brakes are on fire. I mean literally on fire." His rough and weathered sounding voice comes back over the speaker of my radio and says, cool as a cucumber, I know.
Oh, panic. Don't be alarmed.
Yeah.
I am aware.
10-4. And he disappeared around the curve. I never saw any wrecked truck, emergency crews, or even mention of an accident over the radio. I did see discarded fire extinguisher on the ground at the base of the mountain, though. Just one of my many awesome stories.
Wait, what?
So it didn't even make the news. He must have,
just kept going.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he could stop, he stopped.
Pulled over.
And then, wow.
I was a transportation broker of a number of years. One of those years, we obtained government contracts for the transfer of undisclosed hazardous materials.
We were under restrictions to keep everything about these loads confidential, from the trucking companies to whom we brokered these loads to their specific locations. Every single day we had to give hourly updates to an internal agency about the status of our drivers. Each load required a team in order to minimize stopping time. These trucks had specific instructions to not stop for more than half an hour throughout the itinerary, nor to open the contents of the trailer. Their location was constantly monitored by a GPS coupled with a timer to ensure these conditions were met. We had many of these contracted loads without any notable issues. However, one day proved different. During this day, one of the truckers was stopped by a DOT officer. The officer demanded the drivers to open the trailer and reveal the unidentified contents. Our drivers cited our contract with our client, stating that we could not open the trailer under any circumstances. However, the DOT was persistent and broke the electronic seal himself. Our systems at dispatch were frozen immediately. To the officer's surprise, the trailer contained Tomahawk missiles used by the Department of Defense. Two helicopters were sent from the the nearest Air Force base, and the DOT officer was taken into custody later to be released.
Oh,
turns out that transportation of contents such as these are quite common since they are concealed in a dry van. However, the public is completely unsuspecting.
What?
That's crazy. Taking into custody?
Well, good.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's above the law, right? That's what we're told.
That's what we're told. That's what we're told.
Wild. But also, like, put that into perspective now, right? When you're driving, truly don't mess with an 18-wheeler. Like, just don't cut them off. You never know what's behind them.
Yeah. You don't know what they're carrying. You don't know how hazardous it could be.
Right.
Or, yeah.
Like, God forbid they get into an accident, like, yeah, that's wild.
Crazy.
And also kind of shame on, like, I feel like maybe the police officer was teed up a little bit to fail. Like, are they aware?
Oh, yeah.
Like, were they trained, or are they trained for these, like, I don't know, like,
these confidential, like, loads, so they know, okay, this is the code word for it. They're good to go. Like, don't touch that. Or,
like, dispatching, or, like, reaching out to their dispatch to be like, hey, can you check? Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd think.
Some type of checks. It's also crazy to think about cargo thefts. Imagine someone trying to steal that load.
No way.
And then it being like missiles.
Oh my gosh, that would be nuts.
Yeah, crazy.
Nuts. I bet it's happened.
I'm sure. It has to. Has to have happened. Yeah.